Hi, I'm Kate Rogers, and today I'm here on December 11th, exactly 2 years and 10 months after an event that has changed my family forever.
February 11th, 2015 was a day in our lives that will never fade from my memory. I may not remember what I had yesterday for breakfast, but I so remember the events and feelings I had on that morning at 4:45 a.m. My wife sat helplessly on the living room floor, paralyzed by a stroke. Our children, Jackson and Kate, sobbed with fear when they saw her, not even thinking about what could possibly happen in the future. I must admit I was the same, not thinking past the moment in time or what the next few days and hours would bring. I was only trying to focus on when the ambulance would arrive and what the hospital could do for her. That's it. That's all I thought about, nothing else. Nothing else would enter my mind. When the paramedics arrived, I could not believe how calm they were, and they just never seemed to be in a hurry. Frustration was building, but I never dared to question the people who would hopefully help her from this point on. I was simply hoping that she would be off the floor soon and on the way to professional care. The emergency room at Lionsgate Hospital was a blur as doctors spoke to me from different angles, but when they said there was minimal they could do to help her at Lionsgate, I was devastated. And they then explained that they would have a greater chance of recovery at Vancouver General. Everything became clear that I should start thinking about this and how it was going to divide into care at Lionsgate Hospital or Vancouver General. I just didn't understand what was going on for a minute, but when they really explained to me that there was a larger element of risk staying at Lionsgate and that a newer procedure at Vancouver General, it made me confident to agree to have her moved and have the operation done. As they prepped her for ambulatory care, I raced home to comfort the kids and explain the highlights. What the decision was at Lionsgate, they explained to me that the paralysis would remain due to the severity of the brain stroke, and that there would be years of therapy. However, a newer procedure was available at Vancouver General with a higher risk of bleed out. The newer procedure at Vancouver General, after his explanation, made everything but sense to me, and knowing that I had to make the decision, I based it on what Michelle would want me to do, and so I agreed to have the operation done and have her moved. As they prepped her for ambulatory care and transfer, I raced home to comfort the kids and explain the highlights. As I drove home down the cut in North Vancouver, I had to pull over safely with the vehicle to contain my emotions. At one point, I had a call from the surgeon who was actually going to be doing the operation at Vancouver General, and he wanted to make very clear exactly what the risks were in this newer, however, 10-year-old operation that they would be proceeding with. As I fully understood, I began to drive again and go and see the kids. I arrived home with a clearer state of mind and prepared to talk to them. As I arrived home and they were consoling each other and they were cuddling our 5-month-old puppy, I explained to them Michelle's condition while staying positive on the decision to move her to VGH. The toughest thing I've ever had to say to anyone was that the doctor suggested they come with me to post-op just in case the higher risk operation would not be successful and greater loss may occur. We all wept as this was the first time I actually started to think of what if she remained paralyzed or didn't live through the operation and how it would change our lives. We dropped the dog off to our friends and raced to VGH. We parked the car, ran to the operating room area where nothing but emotions was controlling my thoughts. We approached the operating room and waiting room. The nurse told me we could not be there. I explained who we were. I asked some questions. She then realized who we were, and she couldn't have been kinder to our situation and showed us where to sit down. Seconds later, the operating room opened, and Michelle was lying there with her eyes wide open. The doctor quickly spoke to me with his hand on my shoulder and explained to me the operation was successful. I looked at Michelle and kissed her face as she was able to speak the first words to me after being paralyzed for almost 6 hours. The doctor was so jubilant and emotional as well as we were, and with that I felt a connection to them, that they had taken care of her. I had to brace myself against the wall as the emotions took over, and our kids hugged and kissed their mom while laying on the gurney. 2 days later, Michelle was able to come home and celebrate the best Valentine's Day I have ever had. We don't belong to a church or exercise a specific faith, but during the outpouring of food and items and help from our friends, one of them said to me, Someone is watching over you and your family for all the good things you do for others in a selfless way. To be honest, I've never thought of this as something we do, but since he said that, I think about doing more things for people. A lot more without expecting something in return. I've always believed in karma, and I think that day it really was helping us out. Since that emotionally charged time of our lives, we look at things a bit differently. The foods we eat, things we do, friends we keep, and what's important in life. As I grow older, I want to remember what I've done and will do, not what I could or should have done. I look forward, not back. Michelle's stroke may be the best thing that ever happened to us in a weird way. And that's my story, and I'm thankful to be here to tell you.